Hey guys, Lance here, best day of MTB, and we're in lockdown here in Auckland in New Zealand, which explains the lockdown here. I don't know what it is about lockdowns, but every time I'm just about to get a haircut, Jacinda says you have to stay home, and yeah, it goes a bit crazy. But anyway, we're not talking about hair today, we're talking about jumping mountain bikes. Now, this is not going to be a tutorial on how to jump bikes. My technique is not great, and I know this because you guys very kindly in the comments let me know on a regular basis. However, what happens if I told you that I have a system where you could jump your mountain bike and never crash? Got your interest, haven't I? Okay, listen to this and just listen. Imagine if you could calculate the probability of clearing a jump. Let's call it a confidence score. And that was based on scientific, sound, rational information. And you could get that number to 100%. That would mean you could do the jump and you would never crash. Okay. I can hear some. All right. I can hear the comments coming in already. All right. Okay, wait. What's this one say? Sketchy As says, lol, yo bro, go 100, crash all the time. Now, what I would say to Sketchy As is, well, clearly you're not doing the math. Your math is no better than your jumping, and it's clearly no better than your grammar. So you have to calculate accurately. If you're crashing 50% of the time, then clearly you're not 100% confident of clearing it, are you? Now, if you're 16, it probably doesn't matter. You hit the ground, jump back up, do it again. But when you're 50, it usually involves surgery and a trip to hospital. So, the next thing you're saying, 100%. Really, Lance, 100%? And you're right, of course, you can't get to 100%. That's impossible. Even a jump that you've done 100 times and are super confident about, who knows that your pedal won't snap, your shock won't blow its oil, your handlebar won't snap off, or a deer just mows you down as you're going along. So you can never be 100%. But you want to get really up into the high 90s, 98, 99% confident. Now you may say 90%, surely 90% would be fine, but that would mean that 1 in 10 jumps you crashed on. That would mean I'd be in hospital about every other month, and that's just not acceptable to me anymore. So how do you increase your confidence to get it near that 98, 99%? Number one, warm up. Go out on the tracks, do some jumps you already know how to do. Do those, get the feel of the bike, throw it around, get the feeling of riding your bike and feeling good on it. Number two, evaluate the jump. And there's various things you should look at. Now, number one, and I often do this, and people think I'm a little bit daft, but I actually step the jump out. I just one foot in front of the other. Each one of my feet is equivalent. I think it measures out at a metre. So if I do 20 of my feet, that's 20 metres. Okay, that's a joke. My feet are clearly longer than that. But anyway, it's not an accurate measurement, but it's a consistent measurement. So if I step it out at 20 feet, and I've done 20 feet before, again, that pushes my confidence up. It's surprising how many times you look at a jump and you go, don't like the look of that, and you measure it out and it's only 15 feet, and all of a sudden you think, that'll be fine. We'll be absolutely fine with that. Next thing is the run-in. Now, the run-in, my preferred run-in is a long, fast, straight run-in that you can even safety brake a little bit as you go off the jump or get near the jump. My worst kind of one is a sharp corner or something before it, and you have to pedal like fury almost over the lip. So those are the worst. But yeah, what's the run-in like? Is it sharp corner? Is it rutty? Is there a drop before it? Is it smooth? What's it like? Now, this one may be controversial, and this is just my opinion. Everyone's got a different opinion, but I usually only have one or no run-ins. Why do I do that? Well, if you've calculated your confidence score correctly, why are you having 7 or 8 run-ins? You're clearly not that confident. So I'll have sometimes one run-in if it's a weird, sketchy sort of run-in, just to see what it feels like. Now, it's not to say that if you do a run into a jump and you feel like you're in the wrong gear, you slip a pedal, whatever, there's nothing to say you can't bail from the jump and go up and do it again. But I don't have multiple run-ins. I think that just plays with your head. Next part of it is the lip of the jump, the takeoff. Now, I like jumps that require no skill. And when I say no skill, big flat takeoff, you just ride the bike off the end. You don't have to do too much with the bike, and it literally takes off, sails through the air, and gravity does the rest. The ones that really freak me out are those ones with a real steep, almost vertical dirt jump takeoffs. To be honest, I really don't know how to deal with those. I know people try and explain it, but generally, yeah, they just I'm not that sort of jumper. So I tend to pick the jumps that I like to do and I have confidence in doing. Obviously the gap, well, the gap's a gap. You can't do much about that. But the landing on the other side, the ideal landing, big and wide, big long transition with a nice run out on the other side. Worst type of landings are the ones that have really short landings. So if you come short, you're in trouble, and if you go a little bit too fast, you go long, you're in trouble, and then there's a cliff after it, and so you've got to pull up fast. So yeah, ideally have a look at the landing. If it's a nice landing, it's going to increase your confidence. And also, as you say, have a look at what's after the landing, because sometimes you're going to come in sketchy or faster than you think, and if there's a tree right there or a cliff or something that you're going to have to avoid, plan on how you're going to deal with that. Now, another thing that I often do is I directly compare jumps. So you're going to do a jump, it's brand new, you've never done it before. What is it similar to? And I'm going to give you an example. The aviator drop. It's a wooden flat takeoff onto a wooden slope transition. You think, wow, it's not often I do those type of jumps. However, did the BSX jump earlier in the year, and that jump is a flat takeoff onto a clay transition, but the drop, the gap, and the landing and the takeoff are all very, very similar. So doing the BSX jump means that the aviator jump, I feel more confident about doing that drop. So directly comparing the jumps. The other thing, and this is probably the most important one when doing a jump, is how fast should you go? Going too fast, bad. Going too slow, bad. You want to get it pretty much perfect. Now, there's various ways you can get the speed right. One, watch other people doing it, and this has got to be the best. Watch multiple people going off of it, and it'll give you a good idea of how fast to go. Now, this is not always possible. Back over 10 years ago when they built the first barrel run, I'd only ever seen it done on YouTube. I'd never seen anyone in the flesh do it live. And despite going and sitting next to the jump for many, many weeks, nobody ever did it. And so I decided just to watch YouTube, and I watched the clip, must be 25 times on loop. Just watched it again and again and again, and just watched how they did it, and then went from there. That's a bit sketchier, but I was 10 years younger then. So the other thing is, when you doing a jump, the ideal thing to bring with you is a guinea pig. And no, I'm not talking about your little fluffy pet thing with you. I'm talking about a friend who's going to do the jump first. Now, your ideal guinea pig is someone who has the same skill level as you, but is not as bright as you, and is willing to go off the jump first. If they clear it and it's super easy, your confidence score is going to spiral right up there, because you know that if they can do it, you can do it, and they said it was really easy, it's going to be fine. Obviously, if they crash badly and get taken out with a Westpac helicopter, that's a shame. But if you want to look at it, if it's a choice between me going to hospital and my good friends going to hospital, I'll send them flowers. I don't want to have a crash. May seem mean, but that's the way it goes. Now, one thing I would say about your guinea pig, and this is important. Your guinea pig can't be a lot better than you. This is a common problem you see in Friday fails almost every week. The first 3 guys go boom, boom, boom off the jump, and the 4th guy eats it, right? It's very rarely the first guy that eats it. It's usually the back of the train. And if one of your friends clears the jump and goes, "It's easy, mate, just send it, you'll be fine," he may be a lot better rider than you and has skills that you don't. So just because someone else can do it, just because Brandon Seminut can do a double backflip or something, doesn't mean that I could do it. So yeah, your guinea pig needs to have a similar skill set to you. Alright, this one may seem a bit weird to you, but I work out the worst case scenario. What are you scared of going wrong, and what can you do to make yourself more confident about those fears? There are 3 things that can go wrong, really. There's more, but 3 will do. 1, you go long, 1, you go short, and 1, you just mess it up. You get kicked over the bars and you land on your head, and you do another collarbone. Ideally, technique shouldn't really be an issue. You should be confident about your technique, especially, obviously, it depends on the lip. But if you think you're going to get thrown over the bars, I'd suggest that you need to go back and relook at your whole jump technique again before attempting the jump. So you should be confident that you're not going over the bars. At worst, you're going to come up short or go long. Those are your 2 big concerns. Now, coming long is usually better than going short, but there are some exceptions to that. A good exception, again, coming back to that aviator drop, if you go off that too fast and flatland at the bottom, you're going to crash. That is pretty bad. You're better to go a little bit slower and even land near the top of the transition. Even if your wheel clipped the case pad, you're probably still going to be good. So sometimes going slower can be better than longer, but in most cases you want to make sure you clear that gap. Now, this is one thing that I do, and this again improves my confidence. I will measure, as I said, the length of the jump, but I make two measurements. One, where I think the bike should land, and two, where I could land, which would be absolute worst case scenario. And usually they will be big case pads on some of these things. So even if you came dramatically short, you might still ride away with it. And so again, if you measure a jump, it's 20 foot long, but you could probably get away with only doing 15. Gonna make you feel more confident because 15's easy, right? So anyway, you've done worst case scenario, and so that should help you again to increase that confidence score. Now, what happens if you say, well, Lance, I walk up to a jump and I'm 70, 80% confident at best. How can I get over that jump? Well, my suggestion is you're not ready for that jump yet. You need to take time to get ready to do that jump. And so that jump's for another day. But you can progress because you say, well, Lance, how are you going to do a bigger jump because you're not going to reach that 99% confidence in doing it? And you're right, there are going to be some jumps you're going to do that you think, oh, I'm a little less confident about this. But there are ways you can progress. And again, talking about worst case scenario, measuring two jumps. Let's say you measure a jump out and it's 25 feet long and you're only confident with 20. However, worst case scenario for that jump is 20. So you think, well, I can do 20. So if I do it to try and make sure that I get 20 at least, I will still be able to ride away with it, even if it's a big bang in a case. So if you do that jump and you clear the 25, now you know you can do a 25 jump, and so slowly that will expand out. And you can do likewise on other jumps. Say you've got a jump with a big long transition and you clear it, and you go bigger and bigger, and you measure that out, and you think, okay, I'm doing 27 on this jump. I'm actually landing a long way down the transition now. Again, that builds up your confidence, and so when you actually have to do a 27-foot jump one day, you'll think, I know I've actually done that. So anyway, you probably think I'm a complete crackpot, but I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. Do you have ways that you work through these things? I've sometimes taken several years before I plucked up courage to do a jump. I'm just not quite there yet. But yeah, if you haven't subscribed, love it if you did that. Love hearing your comments, thumbs up, like, and all that sort of thing. And anyway, I hope we see you outside of COVID lockdown.